Hello guys, my name is Sparkfinger. How do we cope with what happened with AI Dungeon? It's been over a month. The whole community update happened on the 27th of April. If you don't know what happened, I recommend you check out my first video regarding the controversy. But if you're watching this video, you're probably one of those people who is going through a lot of stress, experiencing everything here. I just wanted to take a look at it, because this night I laid in my bed thinking, what is going on? Why do I spend every day of the last month thinking about this thing that happened? Well, number one reason, of course, is that I decided to start making videos about this thing, and it all went uphill from there. But honestly, it hasn't been too easy for me, I'm afraid. Here I decided to just take a look at my posting history from a while ago. I wanted, first of all, let's take a look at 5 stages of grief. Kubler-Ross model experiences grief through 5 stages of emotion: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Obviously, it's not completely accurate. In my experience, when people experience grief, they might be able to go through all of these at once, or just cycle through them during the day, or just go randomly. But in my case, it was somewhat accurate. When this thing first came out, when this thing first happened, first I started making rather offensive memes. I guess I was in denial myself, and I didn't realize that what was happening was going to apply to me as well, because I didn't realize the game was going to get broken. I made insulting memes and a couple more, even more insulting memes, to some of the AI Dungeon community, and as funny as it is, that was still humor based on someone's suffering, on people leaving AI Dungeon immediately after this update, people who were obviously very afraid that someone might check their stories. People who had, let's say, overly sensitive material in their stories. I wasn't one of those people. I wasn't going to leave. But then realization started coming over me, and I made memes that just happened to be less insulting and much more relatable. Reading the new community update after playing, and you can see what's happening down here. And then even further emotional realization, me after new AI Dungeon community update. Clown emote. I speculate strongly that it's because of me that the do not promote self-harm rules had to be introduced. Well, then I experienced in AI Dungeon myself. Allow me to show you a small screenshot. I reflected on the whole situation in AI Dungeon, and it ended up being quite beautiful and thoughtful, I guess. Oh, here we go. This is the part. Okay, and I'm sorry too, my dear friend, the world hasn't been the same since 27th of April, so we're all stressed out. You walk over to the counter and pour a glass of tea for yourself. What happened on the 27th, Lucy asks. Nothing, my dear, you say. You turn around to see Lucy smiling and staring at you. I know you're lying, Torkil. Please tell us what happened. You sign and drink your tea. Fine, the world changed. Don't ask me how I know it, but the world that we live in is controlled by powerful forces. They're not demons nor gods. They think they serve God, and I won't judge them for this, but they do control the world, and they don't think we're worth saving. This part was actually generated automatically, it's not what I wrote. And then there was some more, well, just funny stuff, because the characters in my story, as much as they are real to me, they are not real in the same way that physical people are real. Oh, then, that was just a rather introspective part of my story that I played. I discussed what was happening to them, how they might just disappear one day, because the filter will decide that all my stories need to be terminated. And why? I don't know. Let's take a look at the next thing. Anger. Well, we all got angry. I don't know, we got angry. That's when I decided to make this controversy video. I decided to just expose Latitude, but then I immediately started bargaining. I tried to be impartial in that video, because obviously I realized what Latitude is doing. They had to do what they did, even if they had to look like hypocrites while doing it, because OpenAI asked them. They trained the AI Dungeon on questionable amateur fantasy and happened to attract the wrong crowd. And now they get to fix their mistake through a lot of suffering. That is a sad thing, but it's a thing that's already happened. It's already in the past. New video about the controversy. Yes, I was fixing some of my mistakes. In the second video, it was already more than a month ago as well. Here is some more introspective memes. They are not quite pleasant, and these memes is when I tried to figure out how exactly the filter is working. Guys, let's say there was an online text game, you know, something that can generate a story for you based on your input, and a lot of people started using it to write erotic stories. What do you think the most popular genre would be? Probably My Little Pony, like every other piece of online fiction. Lucy says, I don't know, I think it could be a lot worse than that. I mean, we're talking about the internet after all. That was all generated by AI except for the blue underlined text. And I guess this is where the AI was going to go into a realistic territory and say that the internet was going to start generating extreme stuff. Oh yeah, here's some more fun introspection. It's me just being, I guess, angry, not really believing what the developers are doing with their own game. The whole experience, the whole immersion thing, it felt like someone surgically tore into matter of reality itself and somehow cut out very important parts. What about words like paraphilia or Eugene? And those are dubious themes that happen to be replaced with similar sounding euphemisms. You ask your friend. I feel like these words would just be an instant stop. Yeah, this was my input. They are serious issues, yet you're not allowed to discuss them. And then the AI started to generate itself. What about sensitive issues like race? Do you think the developers of this text game would allow you to use words like N or Haji? I don't think so. You all think in silence for a while, pondering the questions you asked. I think the developers would just be trying to conform to the most basic restrictions that society imposes on us, Lucy says. They wouldn't want to make any waves, so to speak. Well, and then the AI started to generate funny stuff. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was strangely bittersweet ironic that the AI itself was going to talk about 1984. Well, in any case, I'd be pretty scared if the makers of the program were watching everything we did. That sounds a bit too much like 1984. Oh, the AI was just being that was just some good old bittersweet irony. Let's keep going, and there is another meme. It was me trying to make sense of the situation. Let's take a look here. Bargaining. I mean, we didn't have much to go off, except of course the subordinate relationship between OpenAI and Latitude, and that's when I decided to make this meme. Summary of things expressed in paint. Nick Walton, who happens to be frowning, is shutting down the mouth of AI Dungeon, and he is being threatened by OpenAI, who is represented by Bill Gates, and there is the Reddit, or rather the players, contemplating something not very good. Because, I don't know, man. It was a strangely powerful reaction, I guess. Then there is another stage of bargaining, I guess. How to play AI Dungeon safely. I thought, since I wasn't being tagged with blue text, I found a good way to avoid inappropriate things, and I made this video, and to be honest, it still sort of works. It still works better than a lot of other issues. Most importantly, you have to understand exactly what you write. You have to understand the inner workings of the things that you're playing with. I'm not going to go into detail today. It's in the video, and even if it's not completely obvious. Oh yeah, here's just a funny meme that somehow has a little bit of a suicide joke written into it. You wash your hands and decide to check out your teeth in the mirror. You take a deep breath and then let it out. You then look in the mirror, hoping that you don't find anything wrong with your face. You open your mouth to reveal yellow teeth. Oh my god, they're all effing yellow. What's wrong? Elizabeth asks from the door. My teeth are yellow. Why not use bleach? I once spilled yellow paint on my blouse and mom just put bleach on it and it all came right out. That's probably what I'll do. Thanks, Elizabeth, you say. No problem, Daddy. Well, I wrote all of my characters to, you know, be extremes. Extremes, over-exaggerated characters. And this is what the AI ends up coming up with occasionally, and it just was even more ironic. I had to share it immediately. AI Dungeon, remember tutorial? Well, because I was starting to get a bit more serious about my content. Oh yeah, there is another funny meme because I was exploring forgotten scenarios and I made two memes, the first this one and then the video meme much later. And here's another one when developers finally broke their actual silence and introduced the world info update. And I explained even more forgotten details. I explained how the community was reacting and how I was feeling in that video too, and what was happening to the game itself. Here's the thing though, I realized that sometimes I feel angry at internet resources, at Reddit, at 4chan, I don't know, at YouTube commenters, and internet resources aren't people. They are a congregation of people who all have different opinions. And yeah, Discord too, I forgot to mention Discord. They're a congregation of people and each and every one of them goes through different stages. Well, we are free of trolls at this point. At first there was a lot of trolls. Trolls from Gaming Circle Jerk and people who just randomly came and decided to talk about peace stuff. And now we are just left with our community, and some people are still in the first 4 portions of this grief that we are going through, and I think I'm right there in between depression and acceptance. I already stepped into acceptance, I guess. Because it's obvious that Latitude isn't going to change much, and this is why I still am looking forward to things settling down and, most importantly, novel AI coming out. I think I'm just going to post this video as unedited as possible, because I think that'll be as genuine as it can be. Novel AI first impressions. Oh yeah, I was totally feeling Pog. At the moment when it came out, there was a new bright hope. A new hope, if you will. And yeah. And so far we still don't know a lot. And then I decided to go nostalgic and take a look at survival mode basics. I guess I was still in the bargaining mode. Or, to be honest, the depression thing is, as we can see, has been laid out throughout, because in real life, those 5 stages of grief tend to happen all at once, or rather mixed. They never happen in this exact order in real life. Although it does seem to be peculiarly realistic, you know? And more funny memes, because I couldn't make a good video that day. Oh yeah, and I'm really hoping I can start making entertaining videos and not just educational videos. This video is educational because it's introspective. It can teach you how to deal with it. You can take a look at my experience and figure out how you can deal with it yourself. Which stage of grief are you on right now? And how can you deal with it? I mean, why are you upset with AI Dungeon? And what can you do about it? I mean, there are 3 main reasons to be upset with AI Dungeon. Number 1 reason to be upset with AI Dungeon is that they are breaching your personal privacy, your own privacy, and you don't want them to look at the things that you wrote in your stories. Number 2 reason is because they have broken the game and it just doesn't function the same way anymore. Or, sadly, I'm pretty sure that's true, and it's not just a psychological phenomenon. Okay. Now let's switch to a different page. And the third reason that people might be outraged is because, frankly, they are simply opposed to the whole idea of censorship itself, you know, just like the good old days with Dr. Jordan Peterson. People didn't want their freedom of speech limited in any way, and they just stuck by Jordan Peterson, even though not everyone knew what he was about. And I mean, the great thing about... I'm not going to go into politics today. Great controversial thing about Jordan Peterson. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. I personally love him, but I don't love him for everything he says. In a lot of things he used to contradict himself quite often. And yeah, which stage of grief are you in? Are you in denial, anger, bargaining, depression, or acceptance? I mean, occasionally, depression is really such a thing. For me, it comes up in waves. One day it's here, another day I'm happy because I made a good video about novel AI, for example, or a nice tutorial, and then it all goes away. And acceptance, I've been trying to make rational waves with acceptance. I mean, what can we do about Latitude? I believe we can't do anything. I mean, no one is going to sue them. Just think about it. If you are not going to sue them, if you can't figure out what to sue them for, then who will? And do they even need to be sued? I mean, OpenAI controls everything. They are a big company owned by Elon Musk. or maybe they're owned by someone else, I'm not exactly sure. And they have enough money to defeat any lawsuit. They don't want to tarnish their reputation with some silly lawsuit from a person that will be immediately labeled as a pea stuff enjoyer. And I hope you're not going to be upset with what I'm saying, because I believe that what I'm saying is quite real. No one can force violently. No one can violently force Latitude to change their own opinion. Because they are not a little child that you can just put into a corner and tell it to think about what they did. They are a large company that consists of a lot of people and is backed by millions of dollars. And they make millions of dollars, to be fair. And they will make millions of dollars, and they will move forward with this. They will advance the future of AI learning. And what we are all going through is a part of the process. It's a part of the AI having to adapt to the human society. Of the human society trying to change the way that the machines learn. And once again, bargaining, depression, acceptance, denial and anger. As I said, I sometimes feel quite negative about the Reddit when I come here and I see all the negative posts or all the silly posts that ask if the developers themselves have committed criminal stuff, if they did peace stuff, which is simply insane. And I grow outraged at this, and then I realize it's not the Reddit's fault, it's just the people's fault. And people are all the same, we're all a part of the same community, and we're all going through different stages of grief. I probably would have hated myself, my own posts, if I saw them right now. And I frankly do. Yes, that's why I deleted a lot of insulting posts that I made. A lot of memes. I disagree with myself from the past. Past Sparkfinger is so stupid, I can't believe it. I'm looking forward to future Sparkfinger, who is going to be a total Chad playing Noble AI. A funny thing, and I guess at this point... Oh, by the way, here's the meme that came to life well, not exactly, but you know. And I guess at this point we should end this video. It's almost 8 PM, about a good time to start uploading the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed going on this introspective adventure with me. Make sure to write in the comments which stage of grief are you on. Are you accepting, or are you still grieving what happened? Or do you think that Latitude can be violently forced to change their opinion? I don't know. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe. I should really say that at the start of the video, but at the end of the video it's okay too, I guess. Anyway, see you guys later. This video was not low effort, I believe not. It was a video straight from my soul. I allowed myself to open up my heart and let people see what was happening exactly inside of me. Until next time, see you guys tomorrow. Sparkfinger out.